You say tomato, I say tomato. You say drywall, I say plasterboard. But it doesn't matter what you call it, it's all the same stuff. So today I'm continuing my garage to workshop conversion by putting in a ceiling to hopefully keep the warmth in and the noise out. So all of this I've got to fix up there. Before I take delivery of the plasterboard for this ceiling, I decide to make a start on as much preparation work as I can, including cutting and fitting some of the insulation that will end up sitting on top of the plasterboard. I'm using 50mm thick Rockwall sound insulation slab here to keep both the outside noise out and my power tool noise in. These slabs are denser than your traditional roll insulation, which helps reduce noise and also have reasonably good thermal property to keep in the warmth. From experience, I know the hardest area of any loft space to fit insulation is where the top and bottom chord of the roof truss converge towards the eaves, which getting into is a really nasty job. So I decide to fit these areas with insulation before putting the plasterboard in place. I cut the slabs in half so they're more manageable and tuck them into the eave space to try to get a good seal. Even with these half sheets, I found they had a tendency to fall between the trusses, so I put up a string line just to help keep them there temporarily. With the first row in place and my plasterboard delivery imminent, I move my workbench and shift everything to one side of the garage to make some more space. I need 15 sheets of plasterboard, so I've ordered 16 of 12.5mm, that's a ½ inch standard plasterboard with a tapered edge. As this is only my garage stroke workshop, I'm trying to keep the cost down, so I'm staying well away from anything like foil back or moisture resistant board. And because I'm working on my own, I'm also trying to keep the weight down, so although I would like to have used 15mm thick, it's 30% heavier than this ½ inch board, which is already heavy enough at around 24 kilograms or 53 pounds in weight per sheet. The next day I hire a board lift from my local builders merchants and start the installation. At 24 kilograms and 8x4 foot in size, these boards are difficult for one person to manoeuvre and probably on the limit of any manual handling risk assessment, especially when using one hand on the carrier and having to bring it up to waist height. Although once lifted onto the bottom hooks, this board lift then takes all the strain. The lift I've been given by the hire company is a quite heavy duty one and has a winch system that automatically locks in place when you stop winding it. So it doesn't have a brake and you don't need to lock it off once it's in position, which is definitely a plus. Moving the elevated board in position would be a lot easier if I had a nice flat floor in my workshop, which I haven't. So I found that once it's nearly in place, it then takes a certain amount of pushing and pulling to get it exactly where you want. Once there, a few screws around the perimeter is enough to hold it so the lift can be removed. With the board in place, I can come back and screw it in fully into the roof truss at around about 6 to 8 inch centres. As I went along, I removed the string holding up the sound insulation and replaced it with some timber batten, so I had nothing between the top of the plasterboard and the bottom of the roof truss. I was lucky here that the lift had just about enough reach that I didn't need to remove my temporary workbench along this wall, and I could carry on working over all the rubbish that I've recently accumulated on my horizontal surfaces. If you know what it's like to accumulate tools and materials that cover every surface to the point where you have no space to work, please subscribe to my channel, as we obviously have something in common, and a weekly dose of my videos could very well be the therapy session you need to realise you're not alone. As the boards progress, I use my battens as giant chopsticks to help tuck the insulation in place without having to crawl on my front to fit them. So that's the first 3 in place, and I guarantee you it takes a lot longer than it looks like it does on camera. Obviously I've got a learning curve with this lift to go through, but what I'm finding is my rough garage floor makes it really difficult to get that fine adjustment just as you're in place. The ridges on the floor, the casters want to be one side or the other, so just to move it 5 or 10 mil at the end is quite difficult, but I'm managing to do it. It just takes a little bit longer. So plenty more to do. 3 down, 12 to go. One challenge I have in my situation is the roof trusses are only around about 35mm wide. So screwing the end of a sheet into half of that almost guarantees you're going to blow out the end of the board when the screw starts to bite. There's nothing I can do about this other than slightly angle the screws towards the timber so I can start them a little further away from the edge. Cut the plasterboard to length, a simple score line with a Stanley knife is all you need to be able to snap the board in the right place. The paper surface on the opposite side can then also be cut. If the edge needs tidying up or you need to remove just a touch more, then using a surform or rasp plane makes quick work of removing material and smoothing out the plaster. 715, 935, 715, 935. For smaller cuts, a jab saw or keyhole saw cuts these boards really easily, and it's definitely a required tool if you're doing this type of work. For small boards, I didn't bother with the lift. They're easier to install by hand, but it does help to pre-install some screws before lifting into place. It just makes your life easier, as 2 hands never seem to be enough. For access to the roof space, I've recently bought this Loft hatch from my local DIY shop. It's fairly cheap and cheerful, and it's essentially a plastic frame that goes around the hole with a door that opens in the middle. Although it's got quite a nice sort of squishy seal that hopefully will seal nicely against the plasterboard. And it's got this expanded polystyrene insulation on the middle. Although I don't know how successful that's going to be for keeping the noise out. I might have to modify it with some sound slab, but I think I'm going to use it first and see how I get on. So these are designed to fit between standard centres of roof trusses, which is a 2-foot standard centre. Although I do have to put a noggin at one end and the other just to help fix it in place. But this is going to be one of the last things I fix, because I don't want to put this up until I've painted all the way around, so I just put it up once. But what I do need to do now is cut the hole that this is going to go into, because the more board I'm putting on the ceiling, the less access I've got to that roof space, which is where I'm currently doing the electrics and the insulation as well. So what I need to do is now measure this and now cut the hole for this to go in. So for anyone considering doing this type of project, these are my 5 top pieces of advice. Number 1, this work is messy. Going up and down into the loft space gets you dirty. Fitting insulation really isn't pleasant, and cutting and screwing into plasterboard above your head makes you really dusty. So wear work clothes and be prepared to get dirty. Number 2, lifting and moving full sheets of plasterboard or drywall is challenging and hard work. If you can find a friend to help you, things will more than double in speed. Number 3, using a board lift is the only way to go. Unless you're muscular, in your 20s and wanting to prove a point, don't even think about trying to do this with 2 bits of timber and a box to stand on. Number 4, working for hours on end above your head is tiring on your arms, to say the least. This is where using the smallest battery on your drill driver helps to cut down on weight and fatigue. And lastly, number 5, I spent half my time on this project moving tools and materials around the workshop just to gain space to work. If you can do this in an empty space or find somewhere to decant your tools and materials into first, then the work will be a lot easier and go much faster. Having said all of that, putting a ceiling into your garage or workshop, if you don't already have one, is absolutely worth the effort and will transform it into a much more comfortable space. Here endeth the lesson. Let's get back and finish this job. So I have a fully functioning ceiling. And for many people doing this in a garage or a workshop, that will be absolutely more than adequate. All you need to do is fill in the screw holes and any gaps between the boards with a bit of filler and give it a couple of coats of emulsion and it'll look absolutely fine. I'm going to be taking this ceiling to the next level by taping and jointing all the joints on the plasterboard just to make it look a little bit nicer. So if you want to see how I get on with that, please check out my next video that'll be out very soon to see how I get on. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please check out the other ones on my channel and please subscribe. So until next time, I've got to get off and buy some tape and plaster.